Regional exclusives. Usually when discussing these, it's about some unique horror game or RPG that never left Japan. Why does no one care that Europe missed out on NASCAR Thunder 2004? They genuinely missed out here. We live in an era where seemingly everything releases everywhere. Hell, have you heard of the 25th Ward: The Silver Case? It's a sequel to a Japan-only PS1 game, released exclusively on a select set of mobile phones only in Japan. Yet in 2018, it got a complete remake alongside the original work and got released globally with English text. When something like this, its peak by the way, gets a second chance at life, regional exclusivity may as well be dead. But no, it's still alive and well. Today they're usually limited to smaller, highly niche titles, but Need for Speed in particular has a very long history with regional exclusivity. Full games, spin-offs, libraries, you've probably missed out on some NFS content. Point being, whether it's new or old, there's always going to be something just out of grasp, shrouded in mystery, hiding unknowns within. Is it good? Bad? Both? Only one way to find out! Need for Speed Assemble got some attention when it first launched a couple of months back. A full, open-world Need for Speed title exclusively in Asia, China specifically at first, before expanding to a couple of other countries. The game opens with a brief initial drive, Razor shows up,
我在北京.
You then drive off a cliff and are introduced to Heat Bay. From there, well, get used to all of these menus. The game wastes no time teaching you about loot boxes and pushing you towards all the monetization present. It's wild, and we will be getting into this later. After you've acquired your starter car, which will be a Focus RS for everyone, the game pushes you straight into PvP multiplayer racing, and you will be spending a lot of the early game in this PvP mode, as it's your only option beyond free roam cruising initially. You do get a choice of what tracks you want to race on, though the selection is randomized, and as you get a couple of more vehicles, which cars you'll be able to choose from, before the matchmaking starts. Then, once you're in, a moment of time is taken to showcase the most dripped out player, before transitioning to the race start. And the racing itself? It's perfectly serviceable. Most tracks have you pretty walled in, but there are some shortcuts and tighter turns here and there. I wouldn't call them challenging like the Kaizen routes, or even some of Unbound's standard tracks, but they provide some pretty scenery. Not too unlike classic NFS tracks, though these races are a lot shorter. Assemble's PvP doesn't employ the playlist system found in Unbound, so after each race, you are kicked back to the main menu and have to requeue. But given how short these races are, like less than 2 minutes short, it's annoying, even if the matching is quick. I'd really like for the end screen to just have a find new match button for players with a bit more free time. I mean, there's a screenshot button, why not a requeue? The handling, as you've probably noticed, heavily encourages you to drift through corners, but there are some corners you can grip through. However, there is no grip versus drift dichotomy here, as there's no benefit to not drifting. And oh my gosh, there is some heavy rubber banding going on here. The more time I spent in PvP, the more I noticed that there was always at least one other player constantly on me. Or the inverse. I could always keep up with players who at least visually had more performant cars than I, which makes the microtransaction situation even more bizarre than it already is. But that's a whole other thing to unpack. In my PvP playtime, I didn't find that beating other players took anything more than some clean corners, and for the ones with a bit more power, just employ some advanced racing lines. Just know when the racing gets this close, the server might contest who actually won. Huh? Not only does the game force you to do PvP early on, you will actually want to spend most of your initial hours here, as it's the quickest way to earn XP, to level up, and to unlock other modes, like the Hot Pursuit mode, which is more like Lockdown than it is Hot Pursuit. How it works is, as a racer you spawn in and collect crates with pursuit tech in them, and head to gas stations to collect parts and such. Don't ask me how you use these, I never figured that one out. The cops in this mode, including other players who can play as cops, don't actually pose much of a threat to you if you're just out collecting gear. But, like Lockdown, there's races available here. Just head on into a meetup, ready up with other players, then you're thrown into a race with pursuit tech enabled. So make sure your arsenal is in order before your arse is out of order. After the race ends, another player will likely hunt you down, but all you have to do is just survive for a set amount of time, and all is forgiven. There's no escape zone or a radius you need to get out of, just don't die. Even if the other player is still directly behind you, when the timer hits 0, it's over. And I found this pretty easy despite some admittedly well-applied pressure. As a cop, this mode makes even less sense. You spawn in at one of the gas stations, then, from there you can target the other racers on the map to take them down. And this is where I learned you can target non-high heat players. So I'm assuming that doing so must not be worth the points. You have the ability to teleport into a helicopter to use as a sort of fast travel to races before you drop down and engage. Be careful where you drop though, you literally spawn right beneath where your helicopter was, not just on the nearest road. Your pursuit vehicle has an AoE damage radius, which I didn't notice as a racer, but so long as the racer is in your zone, they're taking damage throughout the duration of the pursuit. The other tools available to you are an EMP, sideswipe, and spawning in an AI unit to rush down the oncoming way. I really wish I had an opinion on this mode, but it's sort of a thing that just exists. Like the player cards you can commandeer and turn into a pursuit vehicle. This mode just exists. Now beyond ranked and team racing, these are all the PvP modes on offer. The racing is fun enough and seems well balanced, perhaps too balanced, but Hot Pursuit leaves much to be desired. But I will complain that the track variety is lacking. Sure, as you spend more time in PvP, you will unlock new routes, which also allow for higher tier vehicles. The environments, again, are nice, but the bad RNG for track selection just makes PvP feel like a slog. But we've yet to talk about this game's killer feature. It's open world. Seriously, these are still a bit of a rarity on mobile. So, introducing Heat Bay, described by others as a mishmash between Fortune Valley and Palm City, but that's not entirely true. It is a hodgepodge of existing maps and assets, but it is supplemented with unique original areas and environments. It's actually a really cool map to drive around and explore, and compared to say Racing Master, which is comprised of 3 roads and a swing set, it's the best open world racer on mobile. But in all seriousness, it's genuinely a good map and doesn't at all feel like I'm revisiting Fortune Valley or Palm City. Apart from a couple of areas near the stadium, which yeah, deja vu, I've been in this place before. There's a lot to do here. Some familiar open world NFS mainstays like stunt jump, speed traps, and collectibles are here for you. Plus a couple of new ones like these point-to-point sprints, which I'd actually like to see in a mainline entry, and hitting cones, which can stay in this entry. The open world activities in this game actually serve a purpose beyond number go up, as they're tied to the blacklist. Yeah, there's a blacklist here. Each rival controls a region like it's Carbon, and what you need to do is complete a number of tasks before you go on and 1v1 them. Then you move on to the next. A bit basic, but I can appreciate that it is here. And I can also appreciate that if you already did some of the challenges before you move up to another rival, then your existing progress counts. That would be really nice if it applied in another game. Complete a honking objective in a link up? I do not control the objectives which are given to me. Oh, successfully hit racers 3 times in a row with an EMP? I'm sorry, have you played this game? Which brings me on to Assemble's progression. There's so much of it. Too much of it.
There's no way this is that complicated. This is all very complicated.
The goddamn settings menu has a battle pass. Effectively every single menu in this game has some login reward or XP unlocks, which mostly net you diamonds, coins, and parts. The parts are used for the first level of performance upgrades, the rest of which have their own series of progression to obtain, which doesn't actually do anything for you due to the rubber banding in PvP. The coins and tickets get you body kits, but any driving effects, liveries, and even license plate backgrounds, you have to buy bundles for. And the custom license plates are RNG. You want a new car? Well, too bad.
Gotcha rocks! Come on!
This game has so many currencies, some tied to specific events, and things to click on, redeem, and keep track of. The monetization is simply gross and off-putting, and I'm not sure if I should be relieved that there's no gameplay benefit, or annoyed that the multiple currencies and gacha bullshit provide absolutely zero tangible benefit to the player. I definitely lean towards the former, but it makes all of this nonsense even more unnecessary. Free to play or not, there should still be some standard decency. The cosmetics here are so random as well. Like, how do we raise our profits with the least amount of effort?
I'll, go ask the Goon Squad.
What else does this game have? Capture the flag, actually. I tried to get into a match a couple of times, but the only thing that happened was a random man ran up to me, grabbed my hand, then ran away. Beyond that, well, behold. Who needs a Switch 2? Just to be clear, this is user generated, but it's still wild to see, and this map in particular is just so well done. I didn't even have to go digging for this either. It was on the featured tab. The custom maps here do heavily vary in quality, but there is some cool stuff to be found here. The map creator doesn't seem to be like Event Lab with custom rules or anything, but still, these are clearly some powerful tools. And beyond the UGC, the Eliminator. Seriously. They just put the damn Eliminator from Forza into this. You choose your spawn point, load in, and are let loose to acquire cars and challenge other racers. My first attempt at this, I got a Jeep right next to my spawn, and then the game crashed. It's cool that the devs were able to so accurately represent Stellantis products. Racing other players in this mode mostly works the same as in Forza. Challenge or be challenged by the other players in your field of view. But the twist here is that you both race to the start line like it's Midnight Club. There's no punishment for getting to the start second beyond having to play catch up. Then you're both on a walled off route rather than a cross country sprint. Winning this, as the same as Horizon, lets you choose to either take your rival's car or upgrade to something else. Unlike the Forza Eliminator's constantly shrinking zone, which culminates in a final race, here, while there is a zone, the fun is cut short by a time limit. Once it's up, all remaining players must make their way to the final race start. And from there, win! If a mainline NFS so blatantly ripped off Forza, it would be the most controversial thing since some cell shading, but also just completely embarrassing. Although, to Assemble's credit, there is some attempt to differentiate itself from the inspiration. The mode, as you've likely noticed, leverages pursuit tech. Cool. Closing thoughts? Getting high performance cars doesn't take that much effort, though I suppose that's due to the shorter matches here. So, is Need for Speed Assemble worth the hassle of playing? No. But I would be lying if I said I didn't get enjoyment out of my time playing it. The racing is serviceable, it's always fun to discover a new map, and there is a lot to do here. It's just not particularly challenging or interesting. The racing is only fun because you're against other players. The most memorable thing about this game for me were the other players. And Assemble, Zenless, Horizon, both of them, are really just all the same game to me. They're all very well made video games with no outstanding flaws, yet nothing unique, frustrating, challenging, or inspiring about them. They're like the Netflix slop people put on in the background, perfectly fine and inoffensive. There are far worse racing games out there, and in fact I left this one in the draft so long, Big Rigs came back to Steam. Don't buy it, it was a bad game then, it's still a bad game now. When Grid Legends exists on mobile now, and Most Wanted 2012's unique mobile version is still available on app stores, is gambling for the chance to maybe have the latest supercar better than just buying a complete video game, even if it's outdated visually? There's still a few things I didn't cover in Assemble, because the game is just constantly giving you shallow things to do and click on in an attempt to keep you hooked. It's pathetic. Back to the original hook, not all and in fact very few regional exclusives were hidden gems locked away from eager players. But even though NFS Assemble is by all means a measurement better than say your London Racers of the world, at least those titles were honest for the most part. I don't think anyone will ever look back fondly upon a free-to-play gacha game like this. They're just not entertainment that leaves you satisfied, because they exist on edging you along. When Crash and Burn still gets a mention from people online, it's a testament to how far a complete and honest experience can go, even if it doesn't measure up to its competitors. Need for Speed Assemble is Las Vegas. Extremely flashy, can be fun in the moment, but you will regret spending too much time here.